Welcome to another and new episode of Amplify, where we talk with industry leaders and tell their stories and, of course, amplify their message. My guest today, he is not a stranger to the camera. Josh Friend, CEO and founder of Insellerate. Hey, Josh.
Awesome to be here. Thanks for having me.
Always loving your background, hon. It's so blue, so pretty.
That is part of living in Southern California, even though we had a cloudy, I don't know, 4 or 5 months this year, which is unusual.
Okay, it looks absolutely gorgeous.
Not now.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on again. And I love having you on because you are very vital in my head. You're very vital to the mortgage technology space. Like that's your jam, right? And we are going through some current challenges. It's hard right now. So tell me a little bit about some challenges, maybe either yourself and Accelerate, or what are you seeing out there in the mortgage technology streets? And I got my opinion on mindset, but we'll go with yours as well. So what are you seeing?
I mean, I think the biggest challenge we're facing right now as an industry is the cost to produce a loan. It's not necessarily the lack of volume, it's how much it's costing to produce our loans. It's now over $13,000 a loan. It's insane, right? So it's gone up. It's just, I mean, in 2009 it was $3,900, and I think 3 years ago it was $8,900. So it's just going up and up.
Yep.
That's the big challenge, I think. And so lenders are having to really face, how do I really get that under control? They keep going up. And they haven't been going down, so they haven't to figure that out. So I think that's the challenge we're facing right now, is how do we get back to profitability? And with that, I think the other challenge is just, how do people within the mortgage industry continue to grow themselves and thrive? And what does that look like? How do you make more money and further your career in a time when it is tough in the marketplace?
Yep, it is. You and I chatted up. I know, like, the mind plays a huge part on that, right? Like you and I are industry gangsters. Like we've been in it for decades, right? So I feel like we're thick-skinned, we know how to pivot, but there are some that have entered within the last couple of years. What would you tell them, especially, the mindset part? It's hard.
Well, I think for anyone, and I mean, I can remember when I got in the industry. I got in, I worked for a company called Loanworks, which was IndyMac Bank's first
IndyMac, I remember
call center, right? And so before they called it IndyMac Bank, before they were a bank, actually, it was still a subsidiary of somewhat of Countrywide.
Okay.
And I'm 22 years old. I'm going to be a father. So now I have some, I got to take a lot of responsibility, and I'm getting this job to be a loan officer. And I have a buddy who's making like 15 grand a month. This is in 1999. I'm like, that's great, dude. I can sell. I'll do it. I'll work hard. I'm going through training. Within a month or two of me getting on the sales floor, the rates go up like 1.5%. And everyone's like, I'm looking around, everyone's quitting. And they're just like, I don't want to work. And, they don't want to, they're like, this is tough. I'm going to go sell insurance. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. And I'm just like, well, I really don't have any other options right now that I can go make real money. But what I noticed was this: there's about 100 salespeople on the sales floor, and we still are putting in about 40 to 50 loans a day as an overall sales organization. I said, well, crap, why not me? I mean, if there's 40 or 50 a day coming in, I can get one of those 40 or 50 a day. If we're out fishing, I'm going to catch one of the fish. If people are catching fish, I'm going to go out there and catch the fish. So what do I do to go do that? I learned at this time in my career how to cold call and how to just like really go after business. And we had a program, they called it Port Snort, which is a really ridiculous name, but basically,
wait, what is it called again?
They call it the Port Snort. That was really what they called it. And IndyMac Bank actually had a lot of unbelievable technology.
Okay.
But the naming was ridiculous. So, but what it was is IndyMac Bank had a massive servicing portfolio.
Okay.
So they were the servicing arm for all Countrywide's Alt A loans. And that's where it came out of, existence with service. And so they had a massive service center. And they would allow each loan officer, each one of us could go in there and pull out 10 people's names a day of the system, hit a button, and it would give you like what type of loan they had,
Okay.
full doc, stated income, reduced stock, what the current rate was, what the LTV at the time was, some parameters. And we could each get 10 a day, and they would allow us to call those people. So I go, great, I'm going to do this. And the first day on the sales floor, I'm on a team of 10. Everyone's like, I'm not calling anyone. I'm like, really? Well, can I have your 10? Can I have your 10? Can I have your 10? So I had 100.
Nice.
Now I
Nice.
had a pack of 100. And I said, then they said, well, I'm not printing it. The next day, I don't want to print it up for you. I said, fine. When you go to lunch, tell me, I'll go sit in your computer and I'll print it up. Not a big deal. So I had 100 a day. So now I had 100 of these a day. I'd sit at nighttime with rate sheets. I just go through them all real quick, figure out which ones had some type of benefit. Maybe they had some cash out, they had equity, and I'd make my list. The next day I would call them. And I started making money. And here I am making money, and everyone's like, oh, I'm jumping ship. This is the worst thing in the world. I can't make money. What's going on? How are you making money? Well,
yep.
I'm calling these people.
That's
like,
right.
I know there's loans to be made, and there's still going to be $2 trillion in business this year. That's a lot of business. So it's like, there's still going to be a lot of loans out there. You have to have the mindset of, how do I go get them?
Exactly.
If we're not getting them now, change your tactic, right? Figure out what, you look at your approach and start fine tuning and working on it.
And you were creative about it too, because they didn't want to call their 10. So you were like, look, I'll take your 10. I'll take your 10. Then they didn't want to print them out. And you're like, I'll do it during your lunch. And then of course, you and I had kids around the same time. We both had kids like real young in our early 20s. That is a huge motivator. We got to feed these kids, right? Like, we didn't have time to fail. So we have that, like that we need it. We want it. We can't afford to just, give up, because we have no other options. Right.
That's right. I mean, think about it. If you're a loan officer out there, there's a loan officer out there going to make $1 million this year. There's more than one loan officer is going to make $1 million this year.
Of course.
There's dozens of them who are going to make $1 million or more a year. So think about that. And now I work with some of these loan officers and these companies that have loan officers that do this. We work with the top loan officer in America, uses our platform. So when you talk to these people, I mean, they're systematic. They take approach. I mean, this is real business to them. And it's not just, here's what I have to say. It's not just their daily work life. It's their life. And I mean by life, it's these people exercise, they get sleep.
Yes.
They eat healthy. I mean, you think about it, it's just like I always kind of say, you look at professional athletes, like people, like if you're in the NFL, someone's paying you $1 million a year, $2 million a year to $3 million a year to do whatever, you'd be like, I'd work out. Of course you have to stay in shape, but we're no different. We're mental athletes and physical athletes. I mean, do you have the stamina to keep going? Do you get tired after 7 hours of work? Do you have the energy to move forward? So those are all things that I think people need to look at right as well now, is how do you keep yourself, performing at your best? Yep. And that's, that's the other side of this is, you have to work on yourself, and you have to figure out how to perform how do I perform my best? And those are daily routines. Now's the time to put those habits, put daily routines in, prospect in. When do you follow up with these people? When do you reach back out to old customers? If you're the lender and you own the company, you're going through your process. Now's the time to put in daily routines. How do I check the different processes with my organization? How do I get better customer feedback? How do I understand the customer journey? How do I improve upon those things? This is the time just to start, going there and doing the work. Yeah. And those are the companies that you see will start thriving.
Yeah.
Right?
And you hit something, right? It's a mental thing. Like, you got to get yourself, for me, it's consistency. I have to stay consistency. I got to stay the course. And if you have that, like, in your head, I'm telling you, it becomes like second nature. You get up, you do it, and you do it again and again. So it's a lot up here. Like you say, it's like a like as an athlete, they use their muscles, but we use our mind.
Yeah. And well, you just said consistency. I mean, now part of my background for years is I owned mortgage companies, and I ran, and I loved doing sales training and customer service, just in general. I just really enjoy that. And one of the things you think about, if you're, again, going back to the athlete thing, is if you're doing this job, every opportunity you have to get to the plate, you have to do the best job possible. So let's think about a Major League Baseball player. They know they go up there, and like, if you're the best, what are you hitting? 3 to 400, maybe
Yeah.
350. So that means, 65, 70% for most people, 80% of the time, 85, 75% of the time, they're striking out. But let me tell you something. Even though they know they're going to go up there and there's chances are they're not going to they're going to strike out or get, they're not going to get on base.
Yeah.
They have to every single time, every single pitch, put themselves in a position mentally and physically to hit that ball and actually think this is the time they're going to hit the home run, right?
Yep.
You can't go, well, I'm probably not going to make it, so I might as well let a few of these just go by and what the hell anyway, don't waste my time. And also if you look at them, they have a routine. Before they get in there, they swing whatever, they have 2 bats, or they use the bat with the ring, and some touch their glove, and whatever, but they have a routine and it's consistency, and it's because they do it over and over again, so it's not something that's difficult for them, right?
Yeah, it's not. It becomes, again, it's the consistency part. It becomes routine, and then it becomes second nature. But you got to do it. You got to put in the work, and you got to sometimes psych yourself out, because if not, I'm telling you, you'll get left behind. Speaking of left behind, when we were in Coronado earlier this year, you made a statement. I don't remember. We were like on the beach, and it stuck with me. Like, I've used this statement in several of my videos. You said that 2023 will be the last year where organizations and companies can like go without any kind of technology. You said that to me, and that stuck with me, because this is it. You either and right now, that was in January. Now we're in July, right? So if you don't have a game plan, you're kind of, that's it, man. I mean,
Well, you're like a bookstore. You're
yeah,
like a bookstore right before, year 2 of Amazon coming out. I mean, you have to really think about where
yeah,
the market is going. So I can tell you, cost to produce is $13,000 a loan. I think UWM says their cost to produce a loan's like I don't know, in the thousands, or like it's some tiny. I mean, they have a very small number. They do a lot of money in technology. Quicken, Rocket, I'm sure their cost to produce loan is much lower than the industry average. And there's more of this technology that's coming out. So, there's lenders. If you look at it, the average lender last year was not profitable. The average lender this year so far is not profitable. So there was record profits that have helped some of these companies continue to go and realize that there's going to be the market, because again, it's still a $2 trillion a year industry. And when the market shakes out, there's going to be winners.
Yep.
So they're wanting to be winners, but if they're not applying themselves in technology, there's companies, I'm working with them and watching some of the stuff that they're doing, going, wow, and we have some other new projects. We just released an AI thing within our email editor. We have other AI projects we're working on behind the scenes. So I see what's going on, saying, well, this cost to produce is going to be solved within the end of 2024 by some lenders. They're going to cut it down quite a bit through technology.
yes,
Better use of technology. Now, all of a sudden, if my cost to produce loans $3,000 and yours is 13, well, I mean, that's 300 basis points in the average loan, a difference. And probably, I mean, what? Okay. So think about that. Either I can make 300 basis points more loan, so I can recruit and pay the loan officers. I want to pay you 250 basis points loan, you're the top loan officer, and I still make more money. Or I give the customer, which is what's ultimately going to happen, a much better deal. Absolutely. And I take over the market, and that's what's going to happen. So I think this is a year that lenders need, and I can tell you, we're seeing an influx in lenders looking at their overall technology, and they're saying this. All right. So I was just talking to someone who was going over an LOS system that they're asking, does anyone know about this LOS system? I said, oh, actually, I do. I used that in 1999 when I was a loan officer. And I remember it being really old and outdated then. I can only imagine what it looks like today. Okay. And it's still being used by some major lenders out there. And so lenders are going, all right, so I have some technology that's been really old. I maybe need to look at stuff. And what I'm saying is look at stuff that's been really foundationally built in the last 10 years.
Yes. Recent.
Yeah, because recent, because you have to look at, I mean, if you look at us, the amount of innovation and speed at which we push out new upgrades and new features, I mean, brand new huge features, that's like AI email editor and things like, a mobile application, our content library, our social media, there's a lot of stuff we've been pushing out. And it's because we've built a system that is completely what we call API driven. And for a lot of people, that doesn't mean a lot, but the only way I can explain it is like this: is we went and used Lego sets to build the best toy product with stuff that you can put together and work, right? And you can build off of it. So if that piece doesn't work, you can pull that one out. You want it to be purple, you can pull that square out and put a purple one in there. Not a big deal. You want to add a window, you can move it over. That,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. And most systems were built more like, stuffed animal. Right. Let me just sew a big thing together. And there's really, you can't really move things around, right? You want to
It's
put an
just,
arm in there, I'm gonna have to cut something and start
yeah,
sewing some
it's
things. And
clunky. It's
yeah,
clunky.
it's not movable.
No,
And so newer technology, I mean, the mortgage industry is
nice.
very far behind in tech. And it's
Wow.
rapidly, now it's rapidly catching up with things like more modular based, systems.
That is a great analogy for people to get it in their head. It's, newer technologies like Legos, you could build, put, take apart kind of thing. And then the older stuff, 19, that's really bad. The 90s, it is like, it's clunky. It's a stuffed animal. It just kind of sits there, that's it. Josh, it is always, always a pleasure chatting it up with you. You are like a wealth of mortgage technology. Is there any, I do want to let people know, where are you going to be? Because, we're going to be slowly getting into the conference scene. If anybody wants to connect with Josh or connect with Insellerate, where are you guys going to be at next?
I know the Western Secondary is
Cool.
coming up in August. We'll
Yes.
be there. I'll be there, and I'll be at the MBA in Philly, of course.
Yeah, I'll see you there.
I think that's about it.
Okay. Well, you guys connect with Josh. Like I said, he is a great connection and just a lot of info with mortgage technology. And you will be seeing him out in the conference field. Again, thank you, Josh. And you guys, thank you for another episode of Amplify. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.